An interesting bait to talk about today. These are a bit of an AliExpress special. So I was having a poke around on AliExpress, seeing what they've got on there. There's always lots of different interesting lures on there. And I came across this particular bait, which is an interesting one. It's a bit of a kind of a hybrid between a grub, a worm, and then of course it's got the curly tail on there as well. So I thought this would be quite a versatile bait that you could use for a lot of applications, and not one I've seen before. You got to be careful with some of these AliExpress baits because obviously they do have a lot of knockoff baits that are just knockoff from some of the major brands. So it's up to you whether you want to support them or not. Look, they are a lot cheaper. You get a pack of this pack here with 5 baits in it. Was only I think $3 on special. I think they're about $5 now. I'll leave a link in the description if you're interested. So you do get good value for money. And to be honest, the quality is pretty close in terms of the material, at least. Maybe the manufacturing is not quite as tight, and some of the storage is an issue, which we'll go over. But certainly they'll do the job if you're tight on money. I'm not going to certainly have a go at anyone for that whatsoever. This particular lure though just struck me because I like fishing grubs, and I thought this was a good alternative to try. Obviously, it's a little bit longer than a Z-Man grub or something like that, which would normally be about this length here. But you could certainly fish this in the same sort of fashion. You could fish this just with a football head weight, and because it's got quite a lot of length with that curly tail, I thought that would be quite a good bait that would have that kind of effect. If people like fishing those, just hopping the bait along the bottom and having that tail, or even just stalling it on the bottom and just having that curly tail just flap around. I know some people fish paddle tail, there's paddle tail grubs in the same kind of way. So there's no reason you couldn't do it with this kind of bait. But you could also just fish it like a traditional worm, or you could also just give it a really slow retrieve and fish it that way as well. I thought it'd be quite a versatile bait. If you were fearful that it was a bit too long, if you put a jig head on this, you're probably going to have if you put the reasonable size hook on it, you're probably going to have the point sticking out about midway through the body. So if that's feeling a little bit too far up for you, then you could easily just cut this off at whatever place you want, and really just that way you can control the length of the bait. In terms of the colors, they don't actually list the colors themselves, but I'll put them up on the screen as we go here because they just give them like a generic number. They don't really go to any effort giving them a fancy name, but they don't really have any traditional colors. They're all pretty out there, but there's no reason you couldn't try them. This particular color is like a bit of a watermelon, I would say, color. It's got a green flake with a large green flake with a smaller gold flake in there, and then it's also got a blue pearl belly, which is quite nice. Just a simple lamination down the middle. I thought also these legs here, they're actually connected quite interestingly. It's a reasonably intricate mold that they've used here, but you could certainly just pull these apart. That would just give you a little bit more action. Probably not a whole lot, but it gives you some options anyway. Just a note in terms of quality control. Like I said, I mean the injection is great. There is no significant issues with flashing or anything like that, and the color way looks really good. All the colors are dispersed. The laminate is really good quality. A little bit of the gate of the sprue poking out there, but not a problem whatsoever. The only issue is some of these curly tails are a little bit damaged, just the way it's been stored. As you can see, pretty much every curly tail is got a bend in it, but the material is reasonably thin, so I don't think that would be an issue once it's in the water, but just something to keep in mind. The material that these are made out of is a plastisol, a PVC, just like like a power bait, just like a bait you would make at home if you're a bait maker at home. That kind of material. It's not that TPE material, so it is not super strong, but certainly strong enough to do the job. I wouldn't worry about that. This particular brand is under the name Spinpoler, and like I said, they're an AliExpress lure. It actually came branded Spinpoler on the back, and then they're called Rosewood on the front. With these baits from AliExpress, it's all a bit of a lucky dip what you got. I will also mention that I saw another brand here. Now, this is a brand I have actually seen before, these supercontinent baits, and they do have some original shapes actually. They have some knockoff shapes as well, but they have some originals. They've actually got the store just there on the bottom, but I'll put the link in the description. And they produce a similar bait, a little bit smaller than the one we just looked at. But if you are, like I mentioned before, if you are thinking this is a little bit too significant for your kind of fishing, this one's an option as well. They also have their own range of colors. This one's just, it's not even a camo, but it's just the, just a deep green with some gold, red, and blue fine flecks through it. Again, curly tail. This one's in better condition, so they've got a little bit better storage in this. They've actually got the blister pack to keep them contained. This supercontinent brand I found, I've actually got a few lures from them that I will do some more reviews on. But if you're looking for an AliExpress bait, but also you want something that's a little bit maybe better, got a bit of quality control, this brand's maybe one to check out. So I just thought that'd be worth showing. That's a good option if you like fishing a grub, or you like fishing curly tails in general. But also, if you're an avid worm fisherman, this is probably kind of maybe a cool alternative option. Maybe if you're just looking for one lure to rule them all on the day, this is one that you could maybe have in your kit. You could easily just hop this along the bottom, give it a slow retrieve, a slow roll, or even just having it stalled, like I said there, and just letting that curly tail do its thing. I'm sure it would be quite effective.